Hi, Athlean-X seems to understand CrossFit and building muscle under 40, but his beliefs on building muscle over 40 are somewhat incorrect. I have over 40 years of experience and I'm almost 65 years old. My name's Gericules. I'm a power builder, which means I incorporate power lifting and bodybuilding. And I currently deadlift almost 700 pounds and I bench about 420 pounds. Fairly strict in both. You can see a video of me deadlifting on my home page. Look like without a shirt on. As you can see, I have some muscularity. The first issue I have with this video on building muscle over 40 is the use it or lose it. I think after you turn 40, especially after 50 years of age, what you find is it's really about protecting your capabilities. So the two biggest issues are your knees and your shoulders. And when I saw in his video, he was recommending to high impact jumping on tall boxes. What the heck is this? This is not something someone over 50 should be doing unless they're a professional CrossFit person. But in general, it's just those high impact things are bad for your knees. And what you should be doing is protecting the knees. And how you do it is in three different ways. One is, yes, you need to use them. But you also need to build the muscle above the knee and below the knee to take the weight off the knee. You need to try to stay away from high impact type of activities. Walking is a great activity. Bike riding is a great low impact activity. And those are the type of things I recommend over 50 is more of the lower impact. And I think many doctors also recommend it. So to jump high on boxes and that's like, whoa. So and the other issue is you need rest and recovery. So so the three factors are in protecting your capabilities, protecting your knees, protecting your shoulders. You want not to overtrain them. You want to be careful about impact, especially on the knees. You want to build the muscles around the area to take pressure off of it. So with your knees, you want to build the thigh muscle, and you want to build your quads, and you want to build your hamstrings. So those are the type of muscles that will take if you build those muscles, will take some of the pressure off your knees. And you need to do more rest and recovery because if you overtrain, that's a big issue. And when you lose your knees, it's really hard to get them back. Even you replace them, it's not going to be the same. So you need to learn about protecting capabilities as opposed to the philosophy of use it or lose it. You need to really more of a focus on protecting. The second issue, he recommends low weight and high reps. Well, that's for building muscle. Well, that's not really optimal way to build muscle. Now, for CrossFit, it might be optimal to build muscle to do more CrossFit things, but the reality is there's two types of muscles. There's fast twitch and there's slow twitch. The fast twitch are power based, and they're based basically they push weight, and the more weight, the more they're engaged. The fast twitch muscles represent the largest part of your muscles. Why that is think about if a nylon fiber. The more nylon fibers you have on a load, the better able it is to lift that load. So basically, when you have heavy weights, you need a lot of nylon fibers, or actually you need a lot of muscle fibers in order to engage and lift that weight. And the heavier it is, the more muscle fibers you'll be using. So Reg Park, who played Hercules in the old movies from the 70s and 80s, who I remember actually. I was actually a big fan of him when I was a kid, and I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger was a big fan of him as well. He died recently. But anyway, his routine was a 5x5, so he'd do 5 reps of 5 sets of 5 reps, and they would be fairly heavy weights. And he was the first person that I know of that could bench 500 pounds. I think he weighed around 240 or so when he did it. So, he quite strong. very well built, very big. And in fact, a lot of the early bodybuilders started off in powerlifting. Arnold Schwarzenegger started off in powerlifting. Franco Columbu started off in powerlifting. So powerlifting is a really good foundation of building strength and building your core muscles. So, you know, and basically powerlifters are of the mindset of always increasing weight, always increasing the resistance, not doing so many reps as bodybuilders do. The reason why bodybuilders do a lot of reps is to create a muscle pump, as well as some muscle conditioning, because it's important when they get on stage to look really good. But for the average person training over 50, a pump really doesn't do a lot for you. It's a very temporary type of approach. So the building more permanent muscle is critical. And you do that, you really gain almost most of that through heavy weights. You will gain a little muscle mass through doing a lot of reps with lighter weights. But I think at the end of the day, it really is about what your goals are. If you want to be, you want to build strength, then you're going to do, you should be optimally lifting heavy weights or heavier, and as you go along you should be progressing and adding more weights as you can. But if your goal is really to isolate and do a movement a lot of times like CrossFit, then you need to focus on that. So this is sort of why I said in the beginning, I believe, you know, he knows a lot about CrossFit, because those are probably things I would do if I was training for CrossFit. But CrossFit's not really a sport I recommend for over 50. It's sort of like riding a motorcycle. It's just a matter of time before you get injured. I've known more people that got injured, somewhat serious, through CrossFit. So to me, it really is just a matter of time before you get significantly injured and aren't able to train anymore. Where I've been powerlifting 40 years and I have these little muscle strains and things like that. But a long time ago, I was out for 2 weeks, but that's good. Issue of why you want to lift heavier weights instead of light reps and light reps or light weights with many reps is building bones. And according to the Berkeley Wellness and many other sources, the best way to build strong bones is really heavy weight training. So you want lower reps and heavier weights, and that's even recommended through some of these sources that talk about building bones. So when you're over 50, you really need to start focusing on building bones and building muscle, which are the core components of building strength. Because strength is just not muscle strength. Like Bruce Lee, he was very strong, but he really, I think he could only bench his weight. But he had a lot of power in his fists and his punch, which a lot of it came from tendons. So tendon strength is important, and that's sort of part of the bone tendon strength issue that you're going to be building with heavy strength training. So I recommend for over 50 heavy strength training, not low reps and heavy weight, as opposed and progressing over a period of time while you can, but doing proper form and making sure you have adequate recovery. Those are key, but you'll put on much more muscle doing that than you would with a lot of reps at a small weight. I mean, think about it. If you did 1 pound and 1 pound bicep curl and you did it 50 times, I know I'd be exhausted. I wouldn't be building any muscle though. I'd probably, my muscle would be more efficient in how it burns the energy or ATP. But I'm not going to be building muscle. So clearly he's mistaken there, and but I understand why he said it. The last, not sort of the last issue, is that I do, in the 2 videos I saw of him, it was just many things he said I just fundamentally disagreed with. And one of them was, which sort of stuck out in my mind, was how you get a hernia. And he sort of based it on, well, the exercise that caused the most hernia was the one-armed row, where you get a barbell or a dumbbell, and you put your knee on the bench and you pull up the weight on a one-arm row, and you rest your other arm on the bench. Well, he's correct that that does make your it's asymmetric on your stomach, so it causes more pressure. But to get a hernia, you need two things. You need your stomach core muscles not being properly set up, and you also need heavy weight. And most people do not do rows with heavy weights. In fact, I 60 pounds is probably what I typically see of people, and that's not really. I mean, if you pick it up in a very bizarre way, yes, you can get a hernia. But in the typical way of doing a one-arm row, it's not. I've never seen anyone get a hernia from a one-arm row, but I have seen people get a hernia from deadlifting. And the problem with deadlifting, if your form's wrong, you are much more at risk for a type of injury. But it's all about building the strength of your core, and the more strong your core is, the less likely you are to get a hernia. But so these are just some of the things that when listening to his videos, I just sort of disagree with. But I mean, I do think under 40 CrossFit, I do think the guy knows what he's talking about, though I wish he used a little simpler language to express it, but that's sort of it. So the moral of this story is, look, you need to you need advice from people that have experience in doing it. And I'm all about over 50, and I've been training 40 years in weight training, so I sort of know. I've seen it, I've done it. I remember even Arnold lifting way back when in the Gold's Gym. So I've seen it, I've heard it. I'm observant. I've done a lot of reading, but it's mostly through experience and my own trial and error, what works on me. So anyway, until next time, this is Gericules.